Bienvenidos a este nuevo vídeo de VirTV. Estamos en el stand de Ares, nuestros amigos italianos. Y tengo a mi lado al gran Francesco Nepitalo. How are you, Francesco?
I'm fine, thank you, Benjamin.
Well, nice to meet you again here at Essen. How is everything going?
Fine. It's the last day, it's gone in a blast. Almost as the copies for this game.
We're sold out, isn't it?
Sold out in 8 hours on
Wow.
the first day, so yeah, it's been really good.
Well, people has been really hyped for Hunt for the Ring, and still.
Yes. We were also really happy about the reception of the game with the demos, because everyone playing it was really liking it. In fact, I think that almost a lot of people bought it because they already read about it and they were interested in getting it early, but other people got it right after the demo. So yeah,
That's
everything's
always
fine.
a good thing.
Yes.
Great, we're gonna release it with the beer in a few weeks, few months, and we don't know much about it, or our viewers don't know. What can you tell us about this game of Lord of the Rings? But it seems it's your favorite theme. You really like it.
The Hunt for the Ring is a hidden movement type of game, in the vein of games like Scotland Yard, Fury of Dracula, and Letters from Whitechapel. So it was a bit like when we started working on the One Ring, that is a role-playing game. So it was a moment where we said we can do something different in the same, still doing something about the Lord of the Rings. And it was me and Marco, plus Gabriele Mari. Gabriele Mari is the designer for Garibaldi and Letters from Whitechapel.
Ah, okay.
So two games that showed the excellence of the hidden movement type of game. Gabriele is very much a specialist on it. So when we started working on it, we thought that knowing Gabriele, we could just call him and say, how about it? Let's design a game together.
Well, it really seems that the theme fits really well, because Lord of the Rings is always about peaks hiding.
We are concentrating on the part of the books that we didn't explore with the War of the Ring. The War of the Ring starts with the Fellowship of the Ring already in Rivendell, and starting from there to go to Mordor and destroy the ring. So we are missing the first chapters that show the story with Frodo starting from Hobbiton and going to Rivendell. So with this game we are doing exactly that. One player will be using Frodo and Sam, starting from their homes in Hobbiton and taking the road to first go to Bree and then go to Rivendell, because the game is played in two parts, with one side of the board and then the other side that shows the road from Bree to Rivendell. But as you can see, there is someone that is going to stand between them and their goal. In fact, up to 4 other players will control the Nazgul, the ring wraiths that have been sent by Sauron to the Shire to find the ring. As everyone who knows the story knows, the Nazgul know only a few things about where the ring could be. They know about Baggins and they know about the Shire. So when they arrive, some of them enter the borders of the Shire and starting actually investigating, inquiring.
Woo! Well, it looks awesome. I think it's.
We're also incredibly happy about the graphic design.
Wow, it's
all
amazing.
The graphics of the board and graphical elements have been done by Francesco Mattioli. Francesco Mattioli is popular as a cartographer because he made all the maps for the Lone Wolf game books by Joe Deaver. And the deluxe maps that you can buy separately on the World of Magnamund, and we like him very much because we think that his elements are so nice and light that make this game much less of a hobby core type of game, but much less of a game with a wider appeal. And then of course we have the artwork by John Howe. He did a fantastic cover.
Looks awesome, Francesco. I can't think about a game of that type so complete, because most of them, sometimes it's like when you found the other game ends, or start to end. But here it seems like you're gonna do a lot of things.
Yeah, it was
For
really
both sides.
it was really our challenge to do it, because since the problem is that you have a map that is very narrow and one player has to move from one side to the other. So apparently it's too easy for the other guys to find you.
Yeah.
So we had to also to reflect the story that Frodo was found or nearly found several times. So we had to represent that. We couldn't make a game where one player sits there, doesn't say anything until he says, I arrived to my goal, or the other players find him and then the game is over. We had to do a game that is much more of a tense struggle. You're found, but then you escape, and then you're able not to be found again for a while. They find you again, or they maybe don't find you, but because you just happen to be out of the map at the right moment. So, and that's what really happens in the books.
And what do you think about the first game? It's better if you are not experienced to play Frodo or to play Nazgul?
That's a good question. I think it's more of a matter of your spirit. It is a bit like in War of the Ring. In War of the Ring, if you play the Free People or the Shadow, you should choose it based on the type of your attitude. If you are more of a proactive player in War of the Ring, you should play the Shadow, because you have to attack, you have to take the initiative, and the Free People player can just sit back a bit and wait for you to take action and then decide based on your actions first. In here, it is a bit like the same, even if of course Frodo is absolutely active because he's choosing his way, but the Nazgul players should be the ones that like to discuss strategies. Okay. We should do this, no, we should do that. So I think it's the same. If you play the Shadow in War of the Ring, play the Nazgul, and vice versa. If you're the Free People player, play Frodo.
If you are more like a lonely guy that you like to do things your own, better Frodo maybe?
Yes, probably, yes.
If you like to discuss and...
and if you like to make fun of the other players, you should really play Frodo. We had some very, very good Frodo players, especially with the in-house playtesting with the company. There are a couple of old friends of Roberto, the developer, the production developer of the company, that made some fantastic Frodos.
Yeah.
Sitting there all the time, watching the Nazgul in the eye and saying, "Oh, really? You're hunting there? How sad and pathetic." Or you're making perception. "Oh, did you find some?" "No, I'm sorry. So playing a very, very hard psychological game.
That's very cool.
To make them very nervous. So if you are that type of player, you should play Frodo.
You will enjoy it. And it used to win 50-50, Nazgul Frodo.
Yes, with a balanced group, we tried to make the setup for the normal game to be 50-50 for Frodo and the Nazgul, absolutely.
And what do you prefer to play when you're playing?
It depends, because on first part it is very hard psychologically for Frodo, I think, because it is very tense. You are there. The Nazgul might be despairing by saying, "Where is he? We can't find him. We didn't find even a single track yet." And you are actually very close to them, and you're like that. Try not to panic because they're really, really close. So eventually, usually when you end part one, you're really like, "I did it." So sometimes I'm not in the spirit of doing that, and I'm more with an Nazgul, so I try to just be in a group and sharing things to do. But if you like to be very much in control, so it's really, I'm very happy that for me it is okay to play any of the two.
And I'm curious about the two parts thing. At some point, you thought that only one part would be okay. One second came later?
No, because as the physical thing is needed to be like this, because the map is really like a strip from Hobbiton to Rivendell, from west to east. So we couldn't make a big map and put everything together, otherwise it would be funny looking. So it was always about having either two maps or a double-sided map. So it came really out really naturally to say, let's wrap it into parts. And then after a while, we even decided that it was good to push, from our point of view, to push in playing the two parts separately, even into different sessions. Because I think that usually after part one, you might want to have a break, as Frodo especially.
Because it's intense.
And I think it is nice to leave the game, record the game using the envelope, so you have time to think about it as the NATs go and come back to the second part, like with the idea of avenging yourself because we couldn't find you, or with the prospect of doing better in second part if you were Frodo and you were caught several times. You look for it. It is a sort of a mini legacy thing. If you played Pandemic Legacy and games like that, you know how much it is the psychological element of looking forward to the next game, to see what will happen the next time, and it builds in between games. I don't understand people playing legacy games like several games in a row, 3 games. We played it leisurely, one every week or so. So I think that here there's an element of that. You play the game, you put out everything, you save the game, you think about it, and you look forward to play the second part. In fact, we are already experimenting with this concept in other games. The idea that the full game is like a trilogy or stuff like that. So because we found that it adds a nice element for the epicness of something. Instead of packing the whole epic feel in the same game for 8 hours, you know, like playing Twilight Imperium or playing also War of the Ring when it is a very long game. Instead of, every player that is a fan of that type of game knows that you can't play a game like that in 1 hour. 1 hour isn't enough to be epic. It needs to be at least 3 hours. So by dividing those hours in shorter games that are still part of the same game, we might be able to preserve the same epic level without forcing you to play 8 hours in a row. So we're working on it.
Okay, then there's future plans with One for the Ring.
If who's listening will do well for us. So if the game is sold well, we might have other chapters of this same game, because we only covered the road from Hobbiton to Rivendell, and then there's Rivendell to Lorien, and then there's Lorien to Mordor. So who knows?
Who knows? Sounds really well, Francesco. Thank you very much for your time and your explanation. I got really hyped with this one. I think it's a really interesting game and complete.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for your time, thanks for your job, thanks for your games. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.